That crash, yeah, we're not done talking about it. Because if you really think Virgin River just casually dropped that ending and moved on, you haven't been paying attention. Let's be honest for a second, that first look at Season 8. It's not giving peace. It's giving stress, chaos, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. And the biggest one is obvious: what actually happens to Brady? Because the way Season 7 ended, it didn't feel like closure. It felt like a setup. One second he's finally getting his life together, like actually together, not just saying it, and the next, boom. Everything goes dark. No follow-up, no reassurance, nothing. Just silence. And you're telling me that's not intentional? Brady's entire arc this season was about growth. Real growth. Not the fake "I've changed" speech we've heard 100 times before. He lost everything, got betrayed, hit rock bottom, and still didn't go back to his old ways. That's not something this show just throws away for shock value. So yeah, let's be real, he's not gone. But that doesn't mean he's okay either. Season 8 is most likely going to open in the worst way possible: hospital lights, chaos, and everyone waiting for answers. And Bree? She's not walking into that situation calm and collected. Not after finally admitting how she feels. Not after choosing him. Because that's the part that makes this whole thing hurt more, the timing. They just got on the same page. After all the back and forth, the hesitation, the emotional mess, they finally chose each other. And then the show just rips that away like it's nothing. So now the question isn't just, will Brady survive? It's, what happens to Bree if he doesn't? And let's not ignore something else here: what if this changes him? Because even if he makes it through, you really think he's coming out of this the same person? After everything he's already been through? That kind of trauma doesn't just disappear. It shifts things. It creates distance. It brings out fears that weren't there before. So what if Season 8 doesn't give us the reunion everyone is expecting? What if instead of bringing them closer, this accident is the one thing that actually pulls them apart again? And honestly, would that even be surprising at this point? Because if there's one thing Virgin River loves doing, it's giving us hope, and then testing how long that hope can survive. And speaking of hope barely surviving, we need to talk about Mel and Jack, because if you thought their story was finally calming down, yeah, that illusion didn't last long either. That first look doesn't show happiness. It shows pressure. Fear. Decisions that don't come with easy answers. Because the moment that baby came into their lives, everything changed, and not in the simple, perfect way people expected. This isn't just about becoming parents anymore. This is about whether they're ready for what comes with it. And deep down, are they really? Because when reality hits this hard, love alone isn't always enough, is it? And that's exactly where things start to get even more complicated, because love might be strong, but pressure. Pressure changes everything. Mel and Jack thought they were stepping into a new chapter. Something beautiful, something stable, something they could finally hold onto without it falling apart. But now, it's not just about building a family. It's about holding it together when everything starts slipping. That first look makes one thing very clear: this isn't going to be an easy journey. Because the moment you hear multiple surgeries and serious condition in the same sentence as a newborn, yeah, everything else fades into the background. The joy, the excitement, the dream of a perfect beginning, it all gets replaced with fear, real fear. And you can already tell how this is going to affect Mel. She's been through loss before. She knows what it feels like to have something taken away just when it starts to feel real. So now that she's finally here again, finally holding on to the chance to be a mother, do you really think she's going to stay calm? Not a chance. If anything, she's going to hold on tighter. Maybe too tight. Because that's what fear does. It doesn't just make you careful, it makes you overprotective. It makes you question every decision, every risk, every outcome. And when you're dealing with something this serious, that kind of mindset can take over completely. And this is where Jack comes in, Or at least, where he's supposed to. Because on the surface, he's always been the steady one. The one who grounds Mel when things get overwhelming. But let's not pretend he's not affected by this too. He's watching everything unfold just like she is, and carrying the weight of trying to stay strong for both of them. That's not easy. So what happens when the person who's supposed to hold everything together starts to feel like he's losing control too? Because that's the thing no one is really talking about. What if this doesn't just bring them closer? What if it creates cracks? Small ones at first. The kind you barely notice. Different opinions. Different ways of coping. One wanting to take risks, the other wanting to play it safe. And suddenly, they're not as in sync as they thought they were. And then there's the situation with the doctor. Yeah, we can't just ignore that. Out of all the people who could be involved in something this personal, this intense, it just had to be someone from Mel's past. And you already know that's not going to stay professional for long. Because emotions don't just switch off like that. So now you've got stress, fear, unresolved history, and a baby's life on the line, all happening at the same time. And somehow, they're supposed to stay strong through all of it. That's a lot to ask. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where things get even more interesting.